Hi, everybody. Hi. I want to talk today about primally wounded. A question, yeah. Primally wounded. You know, that's a seminal work, isn't it? Nancy Verrier's Primal Wound, and it had a very profound effect on me. It had two very profound effects on me, actually, and I'm going to get into that. But first, I want to share a story from when I was a kid. My parents had been to Switzerland on business, and they brought me back a Swiss Army knife. I couldn't believe this, Swiss Army knife, and it was just like it. It was a great present to have for I think it was 10 or 11, and I didn't have an obsession with knives or anything like that. There's no worry about a little 10-year-old, 11-year-old Simon then going out creating, instigating knife crimes or anything like that. I just I love this penknife, and I opened it. I opened the penknife to see the different attachments. So there was a corkscrew. Again, 10-year-old boy, not really using corkscrew, but all sorts of different attachments on this, functions on this knife. And I opened the big blade, and my mum said, "Be careful, it's sharp." And as soon as she'd done that, I just tested the sharpness, and I cut myself. And I obviously I started bleeding. It was a sharp knife. My mum rushed over, put it under the tap, put the water, put the finger under the tap. I think it was a thumb actually. Let's clean off any muck that might have been on the on the blade, despite the fact it was new, and the cold water will stop the bleeding. Let's dab it off with a bit of tissue, put a plaster on it, and it will heal. It will heal over time. It'll heal much better with a plaster over, because you won't be able to pick it, Simon. Yeah, picking our scabs. Well, yeah, picking our stabs makes the wound last longer, doesn't it? So that's the view of something like that's the traditional view of something like a wound, an emotional wound, that it works like a physical wound. We have to wait for it to heal, and if it's a primal wound, it ain't ever gonna heal. That's the message that I got from this book, The Primal Wound. It described everything that was, everything that was going to go wrong, everything that was wrong in adoptees' heads and in adoptees' hearts, on the basis of being primarily wounded. And maybe there was no hope for me. So that took me down. She's only using a metaphor, isn't she? Maybe she didn't mean it that way. Maybe it was just the meaning that I attached to it. Our minds are meaning machines. They look for meaning everywhere, and the meaning that I got was that I was a piece of trash. My birth mother didn't love me enough to keep me. She gave me up for adoption, and that's the meaning that my mind gave this stuff. And the meaning from the book was that, as somebody that was primarily wounded, that I was never going to be whole again. So that took me down. That disempowered me. That disempowered me, until I realized this isn't the truth, is it? What was wounded? What was wounded by adoption? It wasn't my body. It wasn't like when I cut my thumb with my Swiss Army knife, the Swiss Army knife that my parents took off me after they'd fixed up my fixed up my cut thumb. They took the knife at me, obviously, because they didn't want me to cut myself again. So I think it took me off it, you know, and I was safer when I got it back a year or so later, you know. But being wounded, being emotionally wounded, isn't like that. What's wounded? Wounded, yeah, emotionally wounded. It's hurt my feelings. Adoption hurt my feelings. But we're not our feelings, are we? Adoption hurt my ego. How dare she do this? How dare my birth mother do this to me? But we're not our egos either, are we? Ego stands for earth guide only, I think, because, you know, we're those I heard that phrase, that quote, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. The ego is the earth guide only. It's just for the human part of us. The human part of us can be wounded. Our body can be wounded, but underneath that human and that human body, that meat suit, you know, the meat suit that can be wounded, the thumb that can be cut, is that spirit, that bigger part of us, that ghost in the machine, that essential nature, and our nature cannot be wounded. It looks like it is. It looks like we have been wounded, but spirit can't be wounded because it isn't a thing. It isn't material. It is immaterial. That nature, the same nature that heals our thumb, heals us physically, is the essence of who we are. That unseen force, the unseen force of nature, the unseen force that means that a flower pushes through the tarmac, you know, pushes what the Americans would call the blacktop, the road surface. That incredible power of the flower pushes through the tarmac or the blacktop, if in the States, because of who it really is, and that nature cannot be wounded. So yes, adoption hurts. It hurts us. Life is a contact sport, and adoption hurts us, as in it hurts our feelings. It hurt my feelings. It hurt my ego, but it didn't hurt the essence of who I am. And that spirit is unwoundable. So I'm working been working now and again on my book. I keep on writing 10,000 words and then starting back again because I don't think I've got the structure right. But my answer to Nancy Verrier's book will be it won't be Primal Wound. It would be fundamentally unwoundable, because that spirit, the essence of who we truly are, is unwoundable. So I hope that helps. If that helps one person, then this message has been worthwhile. And I realize it may be a little bit counter to what we hear in the rest of the world. But seeing that really helped me. It empowered me, because the idea that we are forever wounded is very disempowering. See you again soon. Bye-bye.